Well, good morning. My apologies for our technical difficulties. Reverend Dr. David Goldberg here with your introduction into the March Guide for Spiritual Living Science of Mind magazine. Our theme for the month is demonstrating integral integrity. I love the line from Ken Wilber, one of the integral experts, perhaps the father of integral theory, when he writes, "What if we attempted, based on extensive cross-cultural study, to use all of the world's great traditions to create a composite map, a comprehensive map, an all-inclusive or integral map that included the best elements from all of them?" Regular readers of Science of Mind magazine will recognize that as the golden thread in religious science and indeed throughout New Thought, looking for the common good in all of the world's teachings. So that is what we are inviting you into this month in the March issue of Guide for Spiritual Living. As you continue to vision with us, you'll remember that we launched our visioning effort in January of this year. The question for March is, what must the magazine release to manifest this vision? So please be with that in your meditation if you're participating in our visioning effort, or if you would like to, you're more than welcome to join in whenever and wherever it would serve you. What must the magazine release in order to manifest its vision? And you can send those thoughts and ideas and whatever comes through you, as spirit through you. Please send those to us at Vision 2020. That's VISION 2020 at scienceofmind.com. We had some technical difficulties on that end as well, but hopefully we've gotten those all squared away. So please do send us your thoughts and visioning recommendations. I so appreciate our daily guides in March by Reverend Joanne McFadden. She is an ordained religious science minister. She grew up in the teaching. She has raised her children in the teaching, and she really has a beautiful and unique perspective. So please do engage in those daily guides and let us know what you think. We also welcome your feedback all the time as to who you would like to have writing the daily guides. So whatever makes that mutually beneficial two-way communication, we love hearing from you. Also, I really appreciate the piece that Julie Marrow has written on spiritually guided social uplift ministries. This is a New Thought-wide, if you will, effort that Centers for Spiritual Living and Science of Mind magazine engaged with our friends at Unity, our friends at Agape, and other New Thought organizations addressing the issues of the day. And how can we invite our churches, our centers, our ministers, our lay members, our practitioners, how can we invite all who are interested into a larger conversation? So do take a look at that story. There are 9 different pieces, 9 different elements of the curriculum that are being developed, from gun violence to race relations to gender and identity conversations. It truly is a magnificent curriculum. There are 4 pieces that are available now, and 5 more will be rolled out next year. So for more information on that, do visit agnt.today. You can register as an individual. It's only $50 a year, and you have access to all of that curriculum and so much more. Or you can register as a church or a center. It's $250 a year, and that enables you to have 5 individual subscriptions as a part of that. Again, this is something that has been partially created and endorsed by Centers for Spiritual Living and Dr. Ken Gordon. So we invite you into that conversation. It's going to be exciting moving forward with that. I also love it, and you love it, when Dennis Merritt Jones is in the magazine, And this month, Dennis writes about the art of spiritual integrity. It's a great piece with the expertise, the depth and breadth of knowledge that only Dennis brings to us. So please do engage in that. And one of your all-time favorites, Kathy Julene, is also with us in March, and she's writing on shining the light of wholeness. We are all residents of paradise. And she uses the fires in California late last year as a metaphor for our own growth, for our own coming back from the ashes. And she asks the question, how will you rebuild and how will we rebuild? We've gotten great feedback from you with regard to the series that we launched last August. My goodness, it seems so long ago, on next generation leaders in the New Thought movement. And we bring that whole series to a conclusion as we highlight Reverend Masando Harioka, an associate minister at Mile High Church in Lakewood, Colorado. And Reverend Masando's forte is social justice ministry, doing extraordinary work in that arena. We also invite you to check out the conversations that several of those people who were featured in that article or have been featured over the past several months, our next generation leaders, are having conversations on this very page, on the Science of Mind magazine Facebook Live page. They've had a couple, I think they have one or two coming up. So they're engaging in the themes of the magazine from their unique perspectives, obviously bringing a little audiovisual presentation to that. So if that moves you, if that's stirring in your soul, please do join in as a part of that as well. Another one of our writers that you continually provide us feedback about is Carol Burbank, PhD. And Carol continues to write on the intersection of leadership and spirituality. And she is writing about, we are not part of the system, we are the system. So engage in that, and please do let us know what you think. Checking in with my technical team here to see, looks like we're ready to go with our guest speaker. Our guest participant, our cover person in May McCarthy. May is on the cover of the March issue of the magazine, and I'd like to invite her in to join me now. May, how are you?
I'm good. How about you?
I'm doing beautifully. Thank you. How are things in Texas today?
You know, we have an overcast day. It feels very much like Seattle. So we've got some rain and some clouds.
Excellent. Well, I just wanted to say thank you. As I think I have shared in the magazine, you and I actually had the chance to meet in person, gosh, maybe 3 years ago now, at First Unity Spiritual Campus in St. Petersburg when we convened for the launch of the New Thought channel.
Right.
And I so appreciated your energy and all that you bring to the world. And it has taken us a bit of time. And as we know, all time is perfect in spirit. So looking forward to bringing your story to our readers, May. Thank you for saying yes. Thank you for the important work that you're doing on the planet.
Oh, well, thank you, David. I really appreciate that.
And how did you find New Thought? When were you first introduced to it? What are some of your first memories in that regard?
Well, I have to tell you, I had kind of an unconventional story. I'm the last of 10 children, and we were raised by my parents who were devout Catholics. And they raised us in Hawaii. And Hawaii, as you know, has a very diverse spiritual path. They have a God for everything. And so when I was going to Catholic school, we were taught by the priests about the God of the volcanoes, the God of the ocean, the God of the land. I mean, it was very common for us to recognize that everything in nature had a spiritual God that was talked about in regards to it. And I thought that was so cool. I mean, it was really, really cool. So then when I was 10 years old, my mother decided that I was mature enough, and she took me to a weekend retreat that was put on by a guy named Jose Silva. And he had a program called Silva Mind Control. And that was the very first time that I was exposed to meditation, or going down to a level where you're connected with everything else in the universe. And I was able at 10 years old to diagnose people with medical ailments, you know, and I used 10-year-old terms, you know, there's a big black spot here or a big red spot here, and I'd take my little scissors in my mind's eye and cut out that red spot and tape, you know, some pretty white paper on top to heal it. But it was really interesting because I was able, without ever having met anyone, to be able to know something about them. And I thought, isn't this fascinating? And then I continued with Catholicism, because that was what my family did. But when I was 18 years old and I graduated from college, my mother gave me a book called The Game of Life and How to Play It, written by Florence Scovel Shinn in 1925. And I took that New Thought book. I think that if you were to describe Florence Scovel Shinn, you would describe her as Emma Curtis Hopkins for dummies. Because she's really simple to understand. And I thought I had a miracle formula. I was able to graduate with honors in 3 years, grow a business with my sister with 250 employees, and have just an amazing, successful path using New Thought spiritual principles. And so I continued studying and reading and loving that tradition, that New Thought tradition, that if I use my words, thoughts, and emotions and intentionally towards outcomes that I wanted to experience while being successful and harming no one and having everything bless everyone concerned, that I tended to have a really good outcome and a good life. Well, my sister, later in life, decided to leave the Catholic Church, and she found Unity, and then she found Center for Spiritual Living in Seattle with Reverend Dr. Kathy Ann Lewis.
Of course. And
being the obedient younger sister, I just followed her wherever she went. And my sister is a reverend now, Reverend Sharon Ramey, and also my personal practitioner. And I tell you, between the classes that she and Dr. Reverend Kathy Ann Lewis taught, I got a huge understanding and maturity in science of mind principles. And I thought, you know what, the whole world needs to know this, because people are making their lives way too hard, when in fact, life is supposed to be lived abundantly and free and healthfully. And I get to be sort of the congregant poster child who shows that, you know, I have no training, nor do I want to be a practitioner or a minister. But what I am is an example of what these science of mind principles can do to help people live the life that they love. So I'm grateful that Spirit has rewarded me in other areas of my life and business, so that I can go out and say, look, if I and other people can do this, so can you. You can use these principles and live a great life.
Yes, beautifully said. You know, one of the things that is highlighted early in the story in the magazine is your own personal mission statement. Yeah. And I'm struck, May, that you have had that about since that same time, since you were such a young child. Can you share what that is? And even though it's the same, perhaps your different interpretation, or how that continues to guide your life now.
Sure. So I learned at a pretty young age what my purpose was, why I'm here. And I kind of learned it by accident through just play and fun. And what I love to do is to help people and to bless them with help to be successful. And I like to be blessed with success in return. Yeah. So that sort of has been, I mean, I helped my friends get through school. I did whatever I could to help people anywhere that I had a talent and time and resources to do that. And as I've grown and matured in my businesses, all of my businesses have had a purpose statement as well. In my last two businesses, which were software and equipment for large hospital systems to automate their drug distribution processes, that's what we did. But why did we do it? What was our purpose? It was to save lives and to do it profitably and to receive profit and success in return. So I believe that when you have a purpose, when you really know why you're here, to do what you do, why you're here, that life just ends up being a whole lot more fun. And it actually ends up being easier because you feel so motivated. So what I do right now for my work as a speaker and an author is sort of a takeoff on that purpose statement of to bless and to be blessed. I elevate prosperity and freedom for all. And in return, I receive and I'm elevated with prosperity and freedom.
I love that. You know, as part of that mix also, May, you use or you identify as an angel investor. I love that term. And for our viewers, for our readers, help us understand your definition of that and what that looks like and what that feels like.
Sure. Angel investor is actually a pretty common term. And what it is people that decide that they want to help companies that need financing to grow their businesses. So it's generally high net worth individuals who are considered by the government and by, you know, all of the taxing authorities to be what we call accredited investors. These are people that have a certain level of wealth and therefore can invest in other companies and help them grow. So what I do is I look at about 80 to 100 different companies a year who are out in a formal process raising funds. If you've ever seen the show Shark Tank, I'm like a little mini sharkette, but more like a dolphin because I'm really nice. But what we do is we look at the company and we evaluate whether the team and the business plan and the opportunity and the model that the company has put together for success, whether we believe that they actually have what it takes. And the only thing left that they're missing is the money. So like I said, I look at about 80 to 100 a year and then pick a handful every year to help. And sometimes I serve on their boards as well if I know something about the industry, so I can provide them with some advice, hopefully advice that'll help them to avoid some of the mistakes that I made. But mostly my investing is passive. I trust the team to do what they're going to do.
Yes. Well, and as we continue our conversation, May, I so appreciate, you know, since the theme of our issue is integral spirituality, it feels as though you have done a fluid and beautiful job integrating your personal life and your spiritual life and your business life. And I appreciate part of the context that you offer in that yours is really a gratitude-centered system and a gratitude-centered practice. Can you share just a little bit more about that with us?
Oh, sure. Well, I actually have a daily practice, and I write a little bit about that in my books. And that was something that I used. I combined what's successful in business goal attainment strategies with gratitude and God. And you can call God whatever you want. And that's one of the things I love about Science of Mind is, you know, we don't get hung up on the label. What we know is that there's something greater than ourselves that is infinitely intelligent and can guide us and direct us when we put our words, thoughts, and emotions on something intentionally.
Yes.
So I took essentially the force of 3 G's, gratitude, God, and goal attainment strategies, and I combined it together in a very efficient daily practice where I revisit my goals every single day, much the same way that we teach in Science of Mind to do the 5-step treatment process. So it's essentially being grateful for what I have and being grateful for what I want, but as Ernest Holmes says, describe it as though it's already done with gratitude. Describe it as though it's already complete. Focus on the harvest, even before the field is planted.
Beautiful.
And so when I do that, what I find is that not only does my subconscious jump in and filter billions of pieces of data that are in front of me all day long and illuminate those things that are in alignment with what I'm putting my attention on, but in addition, spiritual intuition pops up and guides me through gut instincts, through strong thoughts to go somewhere, to do something, to contact someone, and even sometimes external messages on billboards or in papers or through other people, other expressions of God, to guide me to take steps on a path that Spirit designs for me to achieve my good. And every time I achieve a goal, I turn around and look at the path that I was led on, and I shake my head, because I would have never rationally thought that those were the steps that I should take.
Yes, could never have created that path on our own.
No. In fact, I have a really great example of that. In my last business, I actually brought Spirit into my business, and I decided, you're not supposed to bring God into your businesses. That's the normal business mentality. But I wanted my employees to rely on this spiritual intuition, which many famous people have relied on. Bill Gates said often you have to rely on intuition, and Steve Jobs said you actually had to have courage to follow your heart and intuition. And even Oprah Winfrey, one of the most influential women of our time, she said that she's listened to that still small voice of intuition her whole life. And the only times that she's made mistakes is when she didn't listen. So I wanted my employees to have that benefit. So I decided that I would have a new member of my C-suite, where my chief financial officer and my chief operations officer and other subject matter experts resided. And I gave Spirit a title, and I called it the Chief Spiritual Officer. And I actually put it at the top of my organizational chart so that I, as the CEO, reported to it. And when my employees asked who that was, I explained that it was a guiding principle. That if in any situation that came up in their work, whether it was a customer that was upset, whether it was a problem in software development that they were having, whether it was scheduling, anything that came up, if they could just look past the problem to the solution and describe how happy and how wonderful life is going to be when they actually have solved this problem. If they started to focus on that, then they would be intuitively guided to take steps to make it so, and to let me know when that happened. Oh my gosh, David, I got phone calls, emails, text messages all the time from my employees saying, you're not going to believe it. The CSO gave me a thought to do this, and I did it, and it worked even better than I thought. And we became, while competing with 3 Fortune 20 companies, we became market share leader in new business because of this CSO guiding principle of using science of mind, new thought principles to create the business that we wanted to have.
Powerful. Wow. Well, in addition to reading about your success and some of your theories and ideas in the March issue of the magazine, if people are interested in more of your work, May, in some of your books and so forth, how can they access that information?
Well, if they go to maymccarthy.com, they're going to land on the book page of my website. And we've got some free chapters of both of the books that people can download for free. There's some videos. There's a whole bunch of free stuff that's on our website that people can check out. There's also a whole bunch of events. I've got some Centers for Spiritual Living and Unity and United Foundation of Better Living events that are all coming up, including a retreat that's advertised in the Science Mind magazine on the last page, a retreat that's coming up in North Carolina at the Art of Living Retreat Center in May. So maymccarthy.com is the best place to start. Lots of free information there.
Wonderful. And what haven't we touched on, May? What else would you like to share with our Facebook friends and readers of Science of Mind magazine?
Just one last thing, and
Please.
that is that a lot of people think that success is unattainable. And I want people to know how powerful they are. Success is simply a system. It's not a secret. I don't care what people say. It's not a secret. It's a system. And people have already proved how powerful they are. They used repetition when they learned to read, when they learned to ride a bike, when they learned to drive a car, when they learned to type on that crazy keyboard that's not even in alphabetical order. They repetitively used a practice to learn how to master those things. And they did one other thing. They found other people in their lives who were already accomplished in typing, reading, driving a car, riding a bike, and they knew it was possible. And they can use the same system for success along with science of mind principles to be able to achieve anything that they want. And they can live and create the life that they desire. They are powerful. That's what I want them to know.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for your time and your flexibility through our technical challenges. We know that Spirit is in and through it all, and we just bless the experience. And I know that by any other name, yours is a powerful ministry, and you are an extraordinary being of light. And thank you for sharing your gifts and your insight and your wisdom with our tens of thousands of readers around the world.
Oh, Dave, thank you so much. And thank you for watching, everyone.
And as we move into this month of equinox, as we move into this month of balance, I know for you, beloveds, that it is a time of balance, that it is a time of joy, that it is a time of flow, and that it is a time of integration. As always, it is a joy and an honor to support you on your path. The journey continues. On behalf of May McCarthy and myself, thank you. Thank you for allowing us to be a part of your journey, and we look forward to continuing the conversation.